Hey peeps, we're back with our series on the home buying process. So if you want to see what we're going to go over, you can definitely check out our general overview video. That's already going to be posted before you see this one. So you can go ahead and head to that video if you would like, or you could just step right in on the first detailed video. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is everything surrounding finances and money. So she's going to go over everything that she did and give you some tips and tricks, and I'm also going to ask her some questions to clarify things. So once again, this is my sister Angel. She just bought a house. We are in the Columbus, Ohio area, so she's going to go ahead and talk to you about the first thing she did about her finances.
Okay, so in the previous video I was talking about how I started paying down debt. And I'm fortunate because at my job they have a lot of overtime. So one of the major and easiest ways that I was able to pay down the debt was I worked a ton of overtime. Like, whenever they offer overtime, I'm working it. And that's basically what I did. And around that time I was making somewhere in the mid 30s to just under 40,000, so 35 to 40,000. And I can't remember how much, that was my base pay, and I can't remember how much overtime I would, get every year. Because I never looked at it when it was broken down that way, like on my W-2 or something like that. I would look at it like, glance at it or something, but I never, concentrated on that. Because to me, that was not guaranteed money. But let me tell you, when they offered it, I was definitely going to work it. So we could work it during the week and usually on Saturdays. So if I could, the bare minimum, I would do at least 4 hours or 6 hours. I usually did 8 until I would be like too tired. Like, after a while of working a continuous sort of schedule, it can be a bit much. But I saved all that money. We also sometimes, depending on what type of worker you are, you can get bonuses. So I would usually save some part of my bonus. I would treat myself and give myself part of that to do whatever I wanted with. But I usually save that as well. Also tax returns. I know some people like to try to ball out when they get their tax returns. I do not ball out when I get my tax return. I save it because it's the easiest way to save money is to have it automatically put into your savings. So I always do my taxes online, and then I do the direct deposit. And when I do the direct deposit, I tell them I want to put in my savings. So it goes straight into the savings. I really don't even think about it.
So I would like to say also with doing taxes, so in the general video, she did mention that she has student loans. So that's one thing that's kind of helping her with how much money she's getting with taxes, is that you're able to do a write-off for paying on your loans also. Yeah. And then if you are actively in school, you should be able to get about $1,000 for being in school. It's like the college opportunity credit. What is it called?
I don't know anymore, because when I was in school, there was the Hope write-off or whatever, or tax credit. And then now there's something else. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, there's two things. There's two write-offs that you should be able to qualify for either one. The other thing I was going to mention is you might work somewhere where you don't have the opportunity to work overtime. So either you're just going to have to knuckle down and just be seriously cheap and not eating out and not going a lot of places, or you might need to get a second job, and that's going to allow you to work like once or twice a week or something like that. Or maybe you have to work every day, but it's only for like 2 or 4 hours or something like that. So as my sister said, like, I mean, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get kind of burnt out, but either you need the money for the house or extra money for whatever, or you don't. So it's just about how bad you want it, and just taking that time to do that. Another thing I'd like to mention in general is my sister is really cheap. Yes. Like, just period. So that kind of helps as well. I will say in the last few years she has been spending more money than I've ever seen, but she's also been making more money, so
which is another point.
So I'll go ahead and let her continue to talk about it.
Okay, so the first time I took a home buying class, they do this formula with you, and it's a math formula, and you figure out how much you can afford for a mortgage, and then how much the total home price would be. Let's just say when I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, because I would have been able to find a house at that time. So 3 years ago, I would have been able to find a house, but it still wasn't sort of exactly the type of house that I wanted. And so the house that I really wanted cost maybe 10, 20,000 more. So I realized I didn't make more money. So I put in for a job that made more money at my work. So I put in for a promotion, and I got the promotion. And once I got the promotion, there was still some overtime. So I would work overtime. I didn't need to as much per se, but I did still work overtime. And I would save that money as well. So now I have a raise and overtime. And I would use that money to pay down debt and also to take care of anything. I did not want to have any type of, like, make sure I take care of my car, make sure that I get new tires, make sure that I get all that type of maintenance on my car done, because I want to keep the car that is paid off. So I paid it off about 2 years ago, and I thought, well, no, a year ago. And so I was thinking to myself, oh, it'll be so great when I get the house. I won't have a car payment, and as long as that could last, that'll be really great.
Didn't you start just putting the car payment money into the savings as well?
Exactly. And so so it was last September, I paid off my car, and I increased the amount of money that I was putting away. And what I did was I have my direct deposit set up to go to 2 different accounts. And one of them, it went straight to the savings. And that way I wouldn't really touch it. And it made it easier to save. And that is something I would definitely suggest to people, especially if you know that you're the type of person, if you see it in your checking, you'll touch it. Either move the money to your savings or have it direct deposited into your savings so you are not tempted to spend. And if you're tempted to spend, you really need to sit yourself down and really think about what you want. Because you may not really want to buy a house then. If you can't control your spending, that's an issue. So that's something you'd have to think about.
Also, something you could do is your employer, they have options from the employer to put multiple checking accounts. So you could just redo your employer direct deposit and add another account with a different bank. So that'll be the bank that you don't use, you don't look at, that's not what you buy your groceries with. So you never even see the money. And that's the thing also that I do with my own money, is I don't look at the money as emergency money, or just in no way do I associate it with money that can be spent. It is not money that can be spent. It doesn't even exist. Like, it's fake. Like, I don't say to myself, okay, I have $300 in my checking account, but I know I have $100 over here. So if this, I have $100. No, the $300 is it.
Yeah, and you really do need to do that with yourself, because I know a lot of people will say, oh, I can't save any money. I can't save any money.
Because you're buying donuts every day.
And there really are people who do that. I know people who will say, they'll say that they're broke just in general. And then I'm like, every time I see you got Starbucks, or every time I see you, you're eating out of, you buy lunch. Like, you're not taking your lunch, you're not taking leftovers. I don't get it. I mean, those are easy ways to save. Or there's people who, they'll tell you they don't have any money, but you sit there like, aren't you posting liquor on Instagram? I'm like, that stuff isn't cheap. So you really have to prioritize. And that is something that they go over in the home buying classes. Once I paid the credit card off, I was so excited. I mean, I was just so happy. I paid that off. And once I paid it off, what I would do is, I still used it for certain purchases, like online purchases or something like that, or larger purchases, I would use that, and then I would actually, money would hit my checking and I would just pay it off or something like that.
Now, like, so the credit card you said was around like $2,500 or so.
Yes, yeah.
And how long did it take you to pay that off? Well, to kind of tell us when you started, like what month you started to really pay it off, and then when did you pay it off?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember when I paid it off. Thinking about it, I'm trying to think. I think it was last year. I think so.
Last year when? Was it hot outside? Was it cold outside?
I know that it was maybe earlier in the year. I think it was earlier in the year, like probably springtime. And the funny thing is,
springtime was 2017.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when did you start paying it off?
So I started paying it off about, well, I was always paying. Listen, I was always trying to pay it off, but the interest on my old credit card was just so, the interest rate was so high that it really just didn't make much difference when I would pay, even when I would pay over. So once I made the balance transfer, which was about 7 years ago, the amount I owed at that point, I think, was maybe somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000. I had medical emergencies and stuff happen, and so it had gone up. So then what I ended up doing is every time I got a tax return, I would take a large sum of that money and I'd pay the credit card down. And then whenever I got a bonus, I would use that and I would pay the credit card down. I would take my overtime money and I just would continuously pay. And I always paid over the minimum amount.
Always pay over the minimum amount.
That's what I did, and that's how I was able to pay it off. And in the interim, stuff happens, and I would use the credit card for certain things. But in my head, what I would say is, as I was trying to pay it off, if I say I had to buy something or use it for something, I would say, okay, I'm going to, the next paycheck, whatever I spent, even if it's a few $100s, I'm going to use that to pay what I just used the credit card for or whatever. I wouldn't touch my savings at that point to pay down the credit card. I was simultaneously saving little bits. One last thing about the finances. There's two parts. There's your credit. If you take the home buying class, they will give you some counseling on your credit. They will run your credit, and it's going to be a soft hit. Let them run your credit. Every time I took the class, there were people who were like, oh, I don't want you running my credit. You're going to ding my credit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're not going to do that unless you go to some place where they make you pay. But if you go to, say, the Urban League or the OSU Extension that both offer free home buying classes, it will not affect your credit at all. And what helps is that they make you set up a budget. And you will go over that budget with them, and they will then look at your credit, and they will look at the money coming in and the money going out, all of your expenses, and they will help you figure out what you need to do. And if you have issues on your credit, they will advise you on how to resolve those issues. I know that the OSU Extension offers a credit course. I think that the Urban League may as well. It is worth your while. If you know that you have bad credit, don't let that get you down. Go ahead and take the class, because let me tell you, when I took the class, my credit was okay, but even from taking the class and doing the stuff that they said, my credit score still improved. It actually was still able to go up. Further, I don't even know what the highest was, but it still was able to go up. So make sure you take one of those courses, because they will be able to help you with your credit if that is an issue that you have. Take the class. They will definitely help you improve your credit score. And whether you end up deciding to buy a house or not, at least you've improved your credit score. And since jobs use it now, and it'll make at least your insurance go down, if nothing else. So it's worth your while. Just make sure you pay your bills on time. Make sure if you have bills that I know people, and they'll have bills and they know that they can't pay them regularly. Then if that means that's your cable, cut your cable off. Okay. Have I ever had cable?
We don't have cable around these parts.
I don't know what cable is.
Don't even know how much it costs. Ain't our problem.
Not a clue. Because I know that it's expensive. I hear people talking about $200 bills. I'm like, $200 bills to look at TV?
Now people do be having their internet coupled in with it and everything, but still. And then also just to kind of like cut down on at least how many bills you have to pay. One thing because I considered getting internet when I moved to my apartment, but instead I just got a hotspot and added it to my phone bill. And my hotspot actually would upload quicker than my sister's internet would upload my videos. So it was kind of like, well, this is better and it's cheaper than getting actual internet. Or at least it cuts down on me having another bill.
Yeah. So if you have any bills that you have a hard time paying, or they continue to go up or anything like that, cut those bills. Listen, PBS now has a children's station. Because I hear people say, oh, I have it for the kids channels for my kids. Forget those kids. Tell them to look at PBS. That's what I looked at growing up.
They also have lives, like the kids channels. They have lives all day on YouTube. So like literally kids shows are running all day on YouTube.
Okay, well, I did not know that.
Or you could just buy YouTube Red or something. It's like $2. One of my high schoolers paid for it.
Like DVDs, I don't care, but I'm not paying $200 for the child to look at TV. That's all to that. So yeah, they will definitely go over that with you at either the Urban League or the OSU Extension here in Ohio. I'm not sure what the other states have, but they definitely have the Urban League. So make sure you reach out to those different resources.
So a couple things I would like to say is there's other free resources to be able to check your credit. I think it's like annualreport.com or something like that. I'll put it up on the screen. You can do that, I think, once a year or 2 times a year. I'll put all the information up here, but every single person in America has the ability to use this. Also, chase.com has what they call, what is the name? Dang, I'm forgetting all the names of this stuff, but chase.com, if you go to chase.com and you look at the ads, you will see what I'm talking about. They have something where you can not run your credit, but check your credit. And it's for everyone. You don't have to be a Chase, someone that banks at Chase. Also, they're not going to be spamming you with offers and all that type of stuff because you signed up. It is literally just there to help you. Also, I do the Mint app, or I don't know if it's like a website, but I do the Mint app. Also, a lot of credit cards give you the ability to check your credit as well, or give you a FICO score and things like that. So always check with your credit card, or if you're going to open a credit card, look at what the actual credit card is offering and if it's going to benefit you.
One thing I will say about that, all those services are great. The one thing I will let people know is, and that they tell you in the classes, is the credit. There's different types of credit scores. So there's the score that you receive, the score that you get if you're looking to purchase a home is different than the one if you're trying to get a new credit card or you're trying to get a car. Those are different, and so just be cognizant that if you have access, and someone's giving you your credit score through an app or something like that, if it's not for real estate, it gives you an idea where you're at, but that may not be the same score if they run for a loan for a house. So that's the other helpful thing about taking the classes, that they'll be pulling that score so that when they're advising you, they're advising you based off the score that you have currently for if you were trying to buy a home.
So would you say then though that, like, if your credit is like a 200, then I mean you probably can't get no house, period. Yes,
because I do believe it's around 600. I do believe that's the score if you're trying to look for a home. It's 600 to 650, something like that, where they will consider you for a home loan. But here's the issue. is that you will be paying a higher interest rate for the house. Interest rates have gone up just a tad in the last few years, so it benefits you still. If you do have a 600 or 650, to attempt to increase that score, because you'll save yourself money in the long run for you and your family if you have one.
Stay tuned and make sure that you subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. If you have any additional tips, definitely comment down below. Hit the notification button and also share this video with somebody that needs it. And this video is actually kind of important just in a general sense, even if you're not buying a home. So definitely share this with someone who you think would benefit from having this information to help them better their finances. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys later.